pressured fish and Baker Lake becomes one and the same just even after the first few days of fishing the lake. We're going to cover and continue what you guys wanted to talk about from our recent poll on YouTube. How to get these fish to bite in pressure situations. Check this out.
Lift, easy,
And you'll want to stay to the end because we're going to give our custom sockeye fly away to those that followed the rules in our last video. Baker Lake for many is a standard setup of sockeye where you have a pink squid skirt, you add a little bit of shrimp, and everybody's fishing roughly the same thing. And on the opener, that may work and people may get fish. But here's the thing. There's 1,000 boats on the lake on the opener. And over the course of a couple of days, two things happen. Those fish went from seeing nothing and being all by themselves in the lake to getting absolutely bombarded with gear, with sonar over their heads. They scatter, they get caught on the ones that do bite, and now you're left with ones that are pressured, ones that don't know what to do, they're skittish, they're scared, a lot of different things start happening, and these fish really start to shut off, or so you think. Doesn't mean everything as a golden rule is going to be perfect, but there's a few ways to help make these fish more able to bite for you. The first, right, I just showed you a standard rig. That doesn't mean you can't fish one rod with the standard on, but don't get caught in a lull of fishing the same gear without changing it up. It may change by the hour, it may change by the half hour in terms of what color they want, what scent they want, what size they want, what dodger they want. Having the ability to be adaptive is one of the biggest key features to catching these fish and being successful. So while everyone may stick with the general and even micro-sized pink squids, there sometimes is a need to get away from the norm. Maybe instead of starting big, your starting setup is a little plankton. This is one of my favorite sockeye rigs of all time, whether it's Baker Lake or it's across the way at Lake Wenatchee. This thing has caught a ton of fish. Little tiny 0.8 smile blade, UV plankton squid with just a little bit of glow in there. A little bit of shrimp, sometimes that's all you need. Now the difference here too, when you start downsizing your gear, you can play with leader length. Because if you're going to end up getting your dodger to really be whipping something back and forth super fast, maybe the fish don't want to react to that. And they switch over and they're going to want a longer leader that doesn't have as much action. And having something subtle and smaller may be the ticket. So when you're fishing things like maybe a wicked lure, being able to draw in some fish with the attraction and blade, maybe they don't want the blade at all. So you downsize to a smaller squid without a blade. Maybe then you downsize from a bigger fly to the small hoochie like I just showed. And that downsize could be enough. Most of the time, you're generally going to run a 1.1 smile blade majority of the time. But sometimes they want the smaller. Sometimes they don't want a blade at all. Sometimes it's as simple as running just a little bit of flash and a couple hooks with some UV beads. That has caught a ton of sockeye, and it's very simple to do. Not much goes into something like that, and it can be very successful. You could just do the couple bare hook rigs, right? These are our sock'em rigs, but the premise of that is like the old days of fishing Lake Washington. They're plankton feeders. When they get a school all together, you really can get them fired up. Speaking of getting them fired up, if you really want to be able to increase your attraction threshold on the schools you find, your downrigger, and specifically your downrigger ball, can be utilized as an attractor by putting something like one of these on, a max flashlight. These can go right off the downrigger ball. They troll at almost no speed at all to get these blades going, and it adds some extra flash to help you out and mimic like it's an actual school of fish. But let's be honest, not everything is going to be the same day in and day out, the same as it was the year before. So as anglers, we're going to have gear ready to go. Like, I might start off with my standard stuff once the light hits the water. I got glow, I got UV, it's big, it's bright. I might get a fish or two. But maybe that size starts to slow down, right? Here's a top coat flashers one. Maybe that big size is something that spooks them. And so maybe you got to dig into the kokanee tackle box and pull something out like a Rocky Mountain tackle in a 5.5. Maybe it's just a smaller profile, same color, but something that has a little bit less flash. Instead of that aught dodger, maybe it's a double aught, like this guy. Or altogether, it could be the color. One of my favorite colors once the sun hits the water is not even something you would really think of for sockeye. And it's this guy right here, black and green. So kokanee version, right? A Kokobo flasher like this guy could be really good too with the copper, the black, and the pink. What it means at the end of the day is being able to adapt, being able to take the time to pay attention to around you. If you're in a huge crowd of boats, get away from the boats. It could be as simple as a few small adjustments, your speed, your distance behind the downrigger, your leader length. Getting these fish to bite, it could just even be a change up of scent. So a few different things like that is what I'm going through in my head every 15-20 minutes if I'm not getting bit. And I'm also head on a swivel watching around me. I even bring binoculars on the boat to be able to see if other anglers around us are hooking fish and if I can see what they're doing. Are they running downriggers or are they running lead droppers? If they're running downriggers, then maybe they found the depth of that thermocline that those fish are sitting at. If it's droppers, maybe it's the speed or the weight that's helping them get to the right standpoint. So comment below what you guys find to be your best pressured techniques. I kind of went through a bunch of them there that I go through in my mind, but I want to hear from you guys and see what you think. Now, let's give this fly away to one of you lucky guys so you can go catch some fish on it. Congratulations to our winners. You guys send me an email. I'll put it right here below. And I will get this sent out this week so you guys can have it for the weekend and be able to go hopefully catch your own sockeye with our custom fly. Guys, I so appreciate you. If you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. There's a lot more content coming. We got the sockeye still at Baker Lake. We got kings out in Puget Sound coming up this week. And there's a whole lot more to be said. So, tight lines and fish on!